Earbuds don't say left or right. So I was like, sitting there looking at it for 5 minutes trying to figure out which one was and which was right. And I'm like, I guess it just doesn't matter. I'm just gonna help you
With that, hi everybody, and welcome to the #Hypetrain podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Corey, the true commander of the power of Shazam.
And welcome to part 2 of the limited edition DC Fandome Round Trip on the Hypetrain. Choo-choo!
Yeah,
Name is too long.
Don't say Captain Marvel. It's not that
You
anymore.
can't say that anymore.
Can't say that.
Can't say it.
So
Thanks,
we
Brie
will be going
Larson.
into the rest of the big
Yeah, she
drops that
did
DC
it.
had.
It's her fault.
So let's start off with the Black Adam teaser trailer. So check it out.
5,000 years ago, Kahndaq was a melting pot of cultures, wealth, power, and magic. Yet most of us had nothing, except for the chains around our necks. Kahndaq needed a hero. Instead, they got me. I did what needed to be done, and they imprisoned me for it. Now, 5,000 years later, I'm free. And I give you my word. No one will ever stop me again.
And that was Black Adam. So we're gonna let Mike start with his thoughts on this upcoming film.
All right. Yeah. So not a lot yet known about the film. As we said, it's it's definitely in the earliest of early stages of production for this film. Like I said, the trailer there just looks like souped up storyboard art. Now, I myself am wondering how much of this movie will be set in the past with his origins, because it's set up his origin story with the Egyptian god type stuff, and then he said, in the trailer he says, "But now I will not let anyone stand in my way," and it's more maybe of him in the present, which made me think of how the first Captain American movie was set mainly in the past, and then at the very end you get to see him in the present, in the future and everything. So we'll see if Shazam will make an appearance, if they do more stuff in the present or not. But the difference is between, if you don't know much about Black Adam, he is basically like the evil version of Shazam. This is a spin-off movie from that Shazam movie, which is, I enjoyed that movie. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun.
But
Yeah,
Black Adam,
I definitely have seen it. Absolutely.
Shazam is powered by the Greek gods, while Black Adam gets his powers from the Egyptian deities. The opening line for this trailer, where he says he's waited so long for this, is kind of it's very true. When looking into this, he was rumored to be playing Black Adam back in 2014. That's 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And that's not even that. That was when he announced it that it was true. So the rumors might have been happening even 2013. It's crazy. And this movie is so in pre-production that there's only 2 casts or 2 credits for the cast so far on IMDb. Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam and Noah Centineo, if I'm pronouncing that at all right, as Al Rothstein or Atom Smasher. The writers of this so far that has listed are Otto Binder and CC Beck. They wrote for a lot of other DC property stuff, ranging everywhere from even the comics to animated series and films. They wrote some episodes of The Legends of Tomorrow, and they wrote, the Shazam movie itself. So definitely, hoping that this one turns out pretty good. I mean, they mainly write for DC, so we could hopefully see some good stuff come out of that. I haven't seen any of the films that this director, who I'm going to take a stab at this name, but there's no way I'm going to get this right. Jaume Colette Sarah. I don't know, but I haven't seen anything of his
I
work.
don't know.
The only thing of note that he has that I have known is the House of Wax, starring Paris Hilton. I never
Ooh.
saw it though, but he directed that, and then he's directed a film in post production right now, Jungle Cruise, also starring The Rock. So
Also starring The Rock.
you know, he already has some experience directing him, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's my wrap up of Black Adam.
Who are you kicking this to?
Yeah.
Oh,
now
I didn't
you're
know.
gonna
I didn't know
pass
I
the
had
mic.
to. I didn't know it was popcorn
So
reading.
now-
I'm so sorry.
You're gonna pass the mic.
Corey, go ahead.
So now that the mic has finally been passed,
So sorry.
am I right, you guys?
I have
listeners.
I have the conch.
That Fernandez guy. Now that I have the talking feather, I don't even have much to say about this. Like we've all said or thought, this is very, very early on, so it's much too early to tell, just what this exactly is going to be. The Rock is, at this point, just such a, if you see The Rock is going to be in something, in your head, there is one of three, let's say, characters that this person is going to be. It's going to be The Rock when he was a wrestler, it's going to be The Rock when he was in Moana, or it's going to be The Rock in any Jumanji, Kevin Hart, whatever other thing you want to think of. It's one of those three actors, and it's whatever it's going to be. So
I was a big fan of The Rock in The Rundown. It's a very good.
Yeah,
movie.
which is basically subbing Kevin Hart for Sean William Scott. It's it's a formula for who he is.
I'm not sure if I'm really hyped about Black Adam, but I'm just a fan of The Rock more than anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like seeing The Rock do things that he wants to do. That's that's what I'm going to the theater for.
Mhm.
That's why I'll see Jumanji 7 when it comes out in 2027. All right, so I'm going to kick it to Sanford to wrap this segment up.
Yeah. So as everyone saw, this looked like the opening cutscene of a sequel video game. Just telling you what happened in the first game if you didn't buy that one with these storyboards and everything. Frankly, at the beginning, I was like, is this The Mummy 2? Because it was sort of the same thing where it's the narration and it's showing The Rock being the Scorpion. I don't know anything about Black Adam. Literally everything I know about Black Adam, I learned either from this teaser or what Mike just said. But it doesn't really matter because this teaser it's very similar. Obviously, it's in pre-production, but it's the same kind of style of thing as the Suicide Squad thing we did last episode. This teaser is we have The Rock. This is a movie and The Rock is the movie, so you like him, so watch this movie when we finally make it. That's really what this teaser was. It was, this is The Rock. Most of the storyboard is the Rock staring at you. This teaser is The Rock is this project, so you like this project. That was I thought that was an interesting strategy. They went with multiple things in this DC Fandome thing that they're doing. They're really setting up you're a fan of this human being. We have this human being in our universe.
Holy crap! Sorry. Hey, say hello to our ethnically neutral mascot, the Greendale human being.
I agree with you on that because now that I'm thinking about it, it's why did they even make this? Couldn't you just say,
Right.
hey, we're working on The Rock, or even have The Rock just come out and be like, hey, we're working on Black Adam. It's gonna be great, and it would have been done the exact same thing, other than this, these storyboards and video game.
It would have been cheaper to, if the 98 Degrees reunion tour wasn't happening, we probably wouldn't have seen this. We probably would instead had The Rock come out and just be like Dr. Dre and say Detox, it's coming. It would have just been Black Adam, it's coming. And that's it. That would have served the same purpose.
Yeah.
We can't have those right now. So they made this, and that's what I think about it. This is we have The Rock, the teaser.
Cool. So I guess just based on this little teaser, boom or bust. Let's move on to it. Corey, what do you think?
Boom. The Rock's in it. It's gonna boom.
Yep. I agree with you. It's so early to even tell. When we finally get a trailer and feature that on the hype train, we'll see. But for now, it's boom because it's The Rock. And Matt?
Bust. Nobody cares about Black Adam. Like Black Adam is one of 2 characters listed in its IMDb page right now, but he's not even the star of.
But Matt, we're not even talking about Black Adam anymore. We're just talking The Rock.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes down to it,
now?
The Rock is gonna play Uncle Ben in the Spider-Man reboot.
and everyone's gonna love it. But
I'll take the mic now.
Yeah,
Fast
Corey.
forward to the
Matt,
1980s.
There we go.
Fast forward to the 1980s as Wonder Woman's next big screen adventure finds her facing 2 all-new foes, Max Lord and the Cheetah. Here we go.
This world is not yet ready for all that you will do. Your time will come, Diana. And everything will be different.
Citizens of the world, I'm here to change your life. Anything you want, anything you dream of, you can have it. You look like you saw a ghost. Diana, look at you. It's like not one day has passed.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be an apex predator. You've always had everything, while people like me have had nothing. Well, now it's my turn. Get used to it.
I've never been one for rules. The answer is always more. The way I fly, they will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us?
Barbara, what did you do?
I'm not so keen on this one. I figure you are, but you know what? I'm ready to go.
I think we can do better.
Parachute pants?
Yeah,
Does everybody parachute now?
all right, everybody. So that was Wonder Woman 1984. So put down your Prince albums, because everyone knows the estate of Prince loves our show. When Doves Cry, top hit of 1984. So yeah, obviously, Wonder Woman 1984. Wonder Woman has been the runaway success of the DC Extended Universe, movie franchise, the first one. This trailer is strange when you take that into account. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Kristen Wiig is Cheetah. That's weird. That's really, really weird.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know that it's bad, but it's weird.
Let's all address the Kristen Wiig thing and then move on to the rest of it.
Yeah.
So let's each have our piece about
weird-
Kristen Wiig, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
So,
adjust
Matt,
the
anything
weird,
else before
skinny, awkward elephant in the room.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I prefaced it. You guys go for it.
All right, Corey,
Corey.
you go first
Top
here.
Corey.
Your views on Kristen Wiig as Cheetah.
So, overall, views on Kristen Wiig, I'm a fan. She's funny, she's cute, she's awkward, she's everything you kind of want from someone who was birthed from SNL. as Cheetah, it's just such a weird choice with how many amazing female actresses are in Hollywood right now. To go with Kristen Wiig for this specific role just seems like it was almost like someone was in the casting room and they were going through the audition list and they were like, Kristen Wiig, like from Bridesmaids? That can't be her. And they're like, no, that's who's sitting out in the lobby right now. And I'm like, all right, we'll bring her in. And she did it. And they were just like, you know what? I'm getting fired tomorrow. So Kristen Wiig, you're going to be Cheetah. So what do you think about that? And that's my opinion on it. It feels like it's a joke that I'm not quite getting yet. And I don't like it.
So
Mike, what do you think?
Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. It was very jarring to see it first in the trailer, and even hearing about it, because there's been a couple different drops of teasers and trailers for this movie. It made me think of, remember Spider-Man 3 and the casting of Venom went to Topher Grace.
Yes.
It reminded me of that a lot, and just my feeling of that. And I was always like, but no, it doesn't fit, The Cheetah, the character, just so we can get through this part, I really don't like she shows up in comics I read, she shows up in stuff I've seen. I didn't really know much about her, so I had to look into her. Kristen will be most likely playing this version of Cheetah where she was an archaeologist studying some temple thing, and these god worshippers have like some formula thing, and when she stumbles upon this temple she gets Cheetah powers somehow. That's kind of how most likely this person is going to be. I just don't know if Kristen Wiig is so that just gets Cheetah out of the way if you didn't know anything about Cheetah, but I don't know if Kristen Wiig can pull this off, really.
My guess is there must be a lot of pre-Cheetah, Cheetah in this movie, and my guess is they cast Kristen Wiig as Cheetah for that, to be sort of Diana's like goofy dorky friend.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the chemistry between the two of them was good enough that's what they wanted to build on.
So as I remember from my limited Wonder Woman comic history, is the way Cheetah became Cheetah was she was an everyday, normal. Well, there's the two versions, Mike, like you were starting to say. There's the one where she was a competing Amazon who used the crystal of Chitara or whatever to gain Cheetah powers, but in doing so, cursed herself. And then there's the version where she's an archaeologist who finds it, and it's after like the third or fourth use of the crystal, because she makes herself like more feminine and more appealing to men and smarter and faster and whatever, that it curses her after the fourth use because it's like her greed corrupts her and she turns into the very poor CGI Cheetah we see.
Yeah, if you say that, it definitely sounds more like that version.
Yeah,
because
it's got to be that.
Yeah,
because there's the moment where she's fighting her in the museum. It looks like where she does that weird like Raiden spin kick at her or spin forward punch at her, and she's still basically Kristen Wiig and eyeliner.
Mm-hmm. And then, that's what I wanted to bring up was like the reveal. Now I'll try to put a picture of this up from the trailer itself. The reveal of Cheetah in her like final form Cheetah, I guess, where she's a Cheetah-esque thing, it's so dark and it looks very CGI. It looks CGI'd up,
awful.
But I'm wondering how much more we're going to get of that. But
it doesn't look great.
It does not look. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead, Matt.
No, popcorn. The only other thing, we'll get into that. The only other stuff I have to say is sort of like flavor stuff. So give us the meat and potatoes.
Okay, cool.
Before that.
All right, so diving into the movie itself, the 80s setting looks pretty fun. Definitely adds a cool element to the film.
We get to my flavor stuff way faster than I thought.
Yeah, I know, but I'm going through my list of notes here.
No, go for it.
So I mean, and with the 80s setting, you see Chris Pine's Steve Trevor character being this man out of time thing and referencing 80s stuff is pretty funny. But I can't help but compare it to, Captain America's Steve Rogers being the man out of time in Marvel's universe.
The thing I was concerned about is it made me think of X-Men Apocalypse, where everything is like, get it? It's the 80s. And it's so in your face, and it's so bad. Like Professor X is basically Professor X is on Miami Vice. Havoc's in that movie for 3 seconds, but he looks like he's on Miami Vice. You know, Nightcrawler's walking around with the beaded jacket. You know,
I forgot about that.
And you know, and then Jubilee's like, oh well, the third one is never as good. And they're seeing Return of the Jedi of all things, you know, because that's the third movie in Star Wars, and this is the third movie in the First Class thing. My hope is we don't want to go that direction. Hopefully, it is more Captain America and less Nightcrawler in the Vita jacket.
I guarantee there's going to be a moment in this movie where Steve Trevor's going to be like, oh, blah, 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 80s thing. That's crazy. And then Gal Gadot in her accent is going to go, well, it is the 80s or something weird like that. And it's just going to be like, boo!
Smithers, are they booing me?
No, they're saying Boo Earns. Boo Earns.
Are you saying boo or boo earns?
Speaking of
that was a spot on Gal Gadot, by the way.
The main people in the cast. So you obviously have Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, Gal Gadot, and Chris Pine. The other two main cast members and characters in the film, it seems like, are the villains of Kristen Wiig that we covered, but also Pedro Pascal, credited as Max Lord. And I had to look into this.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Love this guy as an actor, but I had to look into Max Lord as a character. Corey, let me know if you have any notes, but when I looked into it, he's had so many different incarnations of his character, being responsible for like bringing together the Justice League sometimes, or killing the Justice League, or sometimes he has superpowers, sometimes he doesn't. He's kind of just this evil businessman character for storylines when they need it. It seems, in the comics at least. So there wasn't a lot I could really pick out of whatever version this is going to be, but he just looks like evil businessman. After this trailer, the main questions I got were, how does Steve Trevor come back? Some different ones are that it could be Max Lord having some sort of mind control on Wonder Woman,
which he is known to have.
Seeing Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
And then there's another theory which would be kind of cool, is that it's not Steve Trevor, it's actually Martian Manhunter.
I would love that.
Cool. But anyway,
I would f***ing adore that. Oh, damn!
Bleep and adore it.
I would.
My last little bourbon note says, I'm sure there will be some sort of connection with this film and the bigger DC universe, but I feel like Wonder Woman may be better served to just be its own thing, and that's just because it's the main successful character of the DC universe. Maybe they should just kind of let her do her thing and not mess with the formula too much.
And Aquaman, strangely.
I didn't enjoy Aquaman.
I didn't see the movie, but it made $1 trillion.
All right,
$1
that's my take. Are we moving on to Boomer Bust, or what else do you guys got about regular?
Do you have anything else, Corey?
Yeah,
I have a small little side note about Steve Trevor. So there are two iterations of Steve Trevor that are like there's a bunch, but there's the two main ones, just like Cheetah in Wonder Woman's history, and that's the one she meets in the army in World War whenever that is, and dies there. And then there's the one where Wonder Woman is like a much more modern, and Steve Trevor is her like CIA FBI agent who's tasked with like getting her adapted to modern life in like the real world, and she falls in love with him and blah blah blah. But so it's hard to say which version this is going to be, and I'm also interested to see, because isn't there and correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be the only one who's watched Justice League numerous times, but I swear there's a line in Justice League when Batman's trying to convince Wonder Woman to join up where he's just like, well, wouldn't Steve Trevor wanted you to have fucking done this thing? And she gets really mad and like slaps him.
Yeah.
So how is that gonna fit into this now?
That's a difficult thing as far as midquels are concerned. That's why I assume Steve Trevor doesn't make it out of this movie, if it is Steve Trevor at all.
I would love for it to be Martian Manhunter.
The main thing about this is, to me, it goes back to something that Cheetah says, like, you've always had it all. Now it's my turn. The thing is, Wonder Woman doesn't have it all. Like,
no, she does not.
Steve Trevor died, like, pretty tragically, and this is a character that's been living with that for, in this movie, almost 70 years. So the whole Steve Trevor coming back thing, obviously they're playing it for laughs in this trailer, but we know this is a midquel. Like, we've seen what happens after this. We know he's not around. Like, we know it's too good to be true.
See, that's what makes me think that someone else has to be seeing this too. Like you said, is that Cheetah is now jealous of Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's relationship, which means somehow he is there, or Martian Manhunter is being Steve Trevor for some reason. And he would be able to pull, like, memories from Wonder Woman's brain to be like, remember that one time when I died? That was sad.
All right, guys, with everything said about Wonder Woman, we're moving on to the boom or bust. And Matt, you first, boom or bust?
I'm going to boom this one. This trailer wasn't everything I wanted, but regardless of that, I really liked the original. And since we still have, Patty Jenkins at the helm and everything, I still think this movie is going to be good. So I'm going to go boom.
All right, Corey, what do you think?
I'm going to say boom as well. While I personally didn't care for the original, that's more, I don't like timepiece movies like that. I don't even like Captain America 1 very much for that same reason. So the fact that this will be jumping into Gal Gadot kicking ass as Wonder Woman in the 80s, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I
Can we
agree with
say
you
ass?
about, I'm going to say boom. Despite Kristen Wiig and the weirdness of that, I'm excited to see Pedro Pascal as 80s guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're Tone Loc. It's the 80s, and we're down with the ladies.
With that, we will move on to our last trailer. Corey, set this one up.
So we're going to keep this set up short and sweet. This is what everyone said they wanted, and they've been clamoring for since the release of the original. This is the trailer for Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League.
Matt, I should have had you intro that because it was so down.
It's good to be down.
Let's check it.
You can only go up.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. 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 I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. Hallelujah.
guy's probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets he's destroyed, right? And we have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us. Not us united.
Back and from Hoochie.
All right, so that was the trailer for the Snyder Cut version of Justice League. I had to, when I looked up stuff, I had to go back and kind of remember all the drama that happened in the making of the Justice League and its release. So let's just start into about this version itself. So Zack Snyder says that this is going to be about 4 hours long.
Nice.
And I'm not really sure how much of a good or bad thing that could be. It sucks because, you know, Zack Snyder went through a horrible tragedy, and they had brought in Joss Whedon, and everyone trying to, you know, like the controversy around this between the fandoms, they like to throw blame at whatever. But I mean, Joss Whedon had to come in on a project that wasn't his, that was already kind of torn apart, picked apart by, you know, either movie studios, this or that. Getting to see, you know, this is going to be hopefully Zack Snyder's, you know, unrated real version, his vision of the Justice League. And I think that's fine. Whether or not I'm going to like it is another story. Because there's just so much history of his version that feels very convoluted, and his storyline that's, you know, 4 hours of it. Like, why can't you tell a story with these characters that isn't 4 hours that's still really good? There's a saying that I heard recently that was like, if you can't make a good film, at least make it short, which is what action movies usually tend to do, because it's never anything that requires a ton of thinking. And I feel like with this, you need to have a prerequisite of knowing all of Zack Snyder's inner thoughts about each character and everything that he wanted out of Man of Steel, which I didn't really care for, and Batman vs. Superman, which I didn't like. You need to know and love those to really understand whatever's going on in this version of the Justice League. But it also looks like it's going to have a lot of new material. You get a glimpse of the Dark Side before he's Darkseid, which looks like a flashback to the scene how the humans and the Amazons and the Atlantis people were fighting for the mother boxes things or whatever.
Yep.
And so Darkseid doesn't have his Omega Beam crazy laser beam things yet. And then you get to see the Hall of Justice in rubble and all torn apart, which may be an alternate future type thing, which hopefully will harken back to when, if you saw episode 10 or listened to episode 10, we talked about the Flash movie and how the Flashpoint and the Flash is, you know, he does make an appearance in the original Justice League as visiting Bruce Wayne from the future kind of thing. And, you know, we'll see what more delving into that. And then the whole time travel stuff and putting it in there too makes it even more convoluted than just trying to cram everyone's storylines in there. There's a rumor that Martian Manhunter might even be in this version, or at least alluded to or teased in this Zack Snyder version of the Justice League. And I remember there was an ad campaign for this where it was uniting the 7, and that never happened. It was still only 6 of them. With that being said, too, there was a ton of stuff left out from the early trailers of Justice League. Zack Snyder has said that Cyborg is supposed to be the main heart of this version of Justice League. Which I remember watching the Justice League, I think, War animated film, and it was kind of like this. It's a very good story and or telling of the story of the Justice League and coming together, and it is centered around Cyborg, and I feel like that the elements of that were probably going to shine more through this from what Zack Snyder was saying. So, but yeah, I really don't know what my expectations are. I kind of feel like the story just is a little too convoluted Like 4 hours of it.
Convoluted.
It's crazy. But this would probably be the only reason I'm gonna get HBO Max, and hopefully it's a 30-day trial. Would just be to watch 4 hours of Justice League to see what is up with it, because I'm just interested, if anything else. And then I'll watch the other HBO Max stuff, and then get rid of my 30-day free trial. Yeah. So there's my rant. I don't know what else to say.
Wow.
You guys come in and clean this up.
Wow. Sanford, I'll take the mic if you don't mind.
You want to go first? Go for it.
So let's start with the 4-hour thing. That doesn't really bother me as much because this is coming to a streaming service. If this were a movie theater, hell yeah, I'd be super upset. But since this is something I can watch in like 2 or even 3 or 4 parts, I don't mind the 4 hours. I will say, yeah, I'm with Fernandez on this one. Batman vs Superman did suck. It was garbage. It was too long. It was the same way I felt about Man of Steel at the time, and it seemed like you two were the only people who actually kind of agreed with me, where it was like Man of Steel came out, and I was like, this sucks. But everyone else was like, oh, my God. Oh, it's like we got a Christopher Nolan Superman, and we're so blessed to have it.
Yes,
and it's like, I felt like I just watched.
Sorry, I get into fights and arguments with people about Man of Steel all the time.
Yeah,
it felt views on him. But
like I was watching.
Wait till I go.
Okay.
It felt like watching like 20 short films about like Superman, like 20 short art films about Superman.
It's not even that.
Instead of a full movie.
It's not even that. You're watching Man of Steel is a synopsis of a season of a TV show as a movie.
Yes.
It's not even short films that are connected. It's like, oh, there should have been character development at some point, but we're just telling you what happens. We're not explaining why it happened or anything. I seriously was in the theater, was like, did I have a stroke? Like, am I missing something here? It's the worst movie.
All right, so moving on from that. Cyborg getting more spotlight, that's fine. So the animated films Justice League Doom and Justice League War came out fairly similar. It was when DC was starting to shift its animation focus from tiny little one-offs into a more of a Justice League like focused storyline. And in Doom, Cyborg was already an established member of the Justice League. It wasn't like his introduction. He was there when all of that crazy stuff was going down. And then War was kind of essentially what it was, almost like when Joss Whedon got the call, he was like, hey, this horrible thing happened to Zack. Can you just cover and finish up this movie because the film is hemorrhaging the studio money? And he was like, okay, sure. And then he watched Justice League War and was like, yeah, I think I understand what the Justice League is. Let me just, I'll just copy and paste.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing is he didn't do that because, like, I feel like Zack Snyder wants it to be more like that with interview or putting more Cyborg in. Joss Whedon took more Cyborg out. You know
that's
what I mean?
fine.
But anyway, I mean,
so the movie wouldn't be 4 hours, you know?
Yeah, but that's the thing is also it's like with everything that happened too. I feel like there was way more hands than just the studio was like, "Hey, Joss, can you fix this?" Or "Hey, Joss, can you come in? Zack had a tragedy," and then it was like that. There's a lot more to it when I looked back at the reshoots, and even when Zack Snyder had his vision. I feel like the studio was fighting him on it a lot, which is another reason why I'm interested to see this, because if this is literally just like Zack Snyder going all out in what he wants without any, interruption from studios, without really anything from DC having their, input on their characters and the vision of them, it could be kind of crazy. So I don't know. We'll see.
Here's the thing. I don't need any more of this Cyborg. The amount of this Cyborg we got in the initial cut of Justice League was already too much for me. I don't like this Cyborg at all. Like, the one from all the animateds is great. Teen Titans, great. Teen Titans Go, funny, dumb, great. I don't like this Cyborg. He's a bummer. Even the Cyborg in Doom Patrol is leaps and bounds better than this one for this high-budget film. And Doom Patrol was like DCU's last gambit at kind of trying to survive. So I didn't need any more. So the fact that it's going to be more Cyborg heavy in the Snyder Cut will probably just have me fast forwarding with my PlayStation controller, because that's how I have to watch HBO Max.
You just put your PlayStation controller down. It does it automatically.
I just wanted to say
buttons.
I just wanted to say that I felt like the film missed an opportunity to have Cyborg be more of the comedic relief, and they put it solely on the shoulders of Barry Allen to be all of the comedic relief, and then Joss Whedon had to come in, and then he like lightened up Batman a little bit and lightened up Aquaman a little bit and this and that, and so the movie itself, I remember thinking back at it that it was like, since it was half or part Joss Whedon, part Zack Snyder, it was so unbalanced seeing the characters being very serious to then joking around, and nothing flowed in it. So I don't know.
Which is weird because the Aquaman movie, Aquaman is like a goofy kind of douche. Like, yeah. So it was weird for him to just be like, yeah, I'm Aquaman. When he could have been like, what up, bud? Finger guns.
Well, I'm not really
hair and my tattoos.
Aquaman. I mean, I don't know. Aquaman's all right, but I don't think it's if I was in charge of creating the Aquaman for this universe, I wouldn't have went the route that they did. But
it's because there's now two different, and we keep coming back to this, how there's multiple versions of characters now, and this is the version where like he kind of stumbled into being Aquaman as opposed to being raised as an Atlantean.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been cooler if they already had him established as the King of Atlantis, like how he already got that kingdom back, and he's, you know, very regal and like they have to deal with him because he, you know, he's in charge of the oceans and the seas and everything.
I always
that
liked
would have
it
been
being
my version of him already gone through that, but.
Yeah, I always liked the Aquaman where whenever like Batman or Superman was around, he'd always be like, "Ah, yay, verily, friends, shall we toast to mead and me being the king of the sea?" And then Batman just being like, "I don't like Aquaman."
Yeah, they would have. Well, I guess then it would have been Aquaman. Making Aquaman DC Universe's Thor, which I don't know.
So my last thing to add for my my little section is, when Justice League came out, there were so many damn rumors on the internet that were like, well, you know, the Snyder version was going to have Martian Manhunter, and the Snyder version was supposed to be 6 hours long, and the Snyder version was going to introduce Green Lantern, and this, and this, and this, that I feel like no matter what comes out in this 4-hour version, there's always going to be some cult of the internet somewhere that's going to be like, yeah, well, we still didn't get to see how Superman goes back in time by flying through Flash's warp hole, and he stops. So it's like,
yeah. Oh, loneliness and cheeseburgers are a dangerous mix.
No one's going to be happy. Like, you can't make everyone happy, and that just feels like what HBO Max was trying to do, and it's just going to fail. And now we're going to kick it to Sanford to wrap it up.
Yeah, so you just said something very important that I was going to say. The main point of this is, I guess before I say that, I should say that I did not see the Justice League film because I do not, because I, mainly for the reason that I saw Man of Steel and it was one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen in my life. So I was all out of the DCEU. I did like Wonder Woman, which I saw because of my lovely wife, and it was a good movie. But it has nothing to do with, it's nothing like Man of Steel, and it has nothing to do with anything involved in this. So I didn't see the movie. So I was watching this trailer just as like though it was a normal movie trailer. And this trailer gives you nothing at all. That's because this trailer isn't for me. It's not for people who haven't seen the movie, obviously, already. It's because this is a thing that people complained enough to make exist. They kept saying that this glorious Snyder Cut existed, and it had all of these things that would suddenly make the DCEU make sense. But it never existed. That's the whole point. They had to spend millions more dollars on a movie that lost so many millions of dollars just to make this. And the thing is, we've already kind of had this. That's the main thing I was thinking when I was watching this. And it wasn't that this is a new cut of a movie that's already been released. a 4 hours Zack Snyder movie with the song Hallelujah in it, it's Watchmen again. Zack Snyder's like whatever crazy version of Watchmen is 4 hours long, and it has this song in it.
Yeah.
This is just Zack Snyder going. I like the movie Watchmen.
Love it.
I don't
Me
know
too.
that I like. I don't know that I like.
too.
All of it. I don't know that I like all 4.5 hours of what Zack Snyder did. I liked the theatrical cut, to be honest with you.
It's very good.
And then I watched the version, not even the full version, because not the version with the Black Freighter in it, which adds like 40 minutes. And the one without the Black Freighter still took me 2 sittings. So this is just the same thing. New decade, same thing. This is Zack Snyder comic bloat with the song Hallelujah in the soundtrack. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know. I don't care for it, and I don't believe I will be watching it.
And my wife agreed.
All right. So with that being said, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the boomer bust, and then I just want to open a conversation about, with this being the DC Fandome Round Trip, we're going to just do a conversation about the DC universe in general. But let's do the boomer bust for the Snyder Cut. Corey, you first.
Bust. There's far too much riding on this for it to possibly meet expectations.
I agree with you, but I'm going to say boom. I feel like HBO Max is going to get a lot of people signing up for this. They're going to get what they want out of it. Zack Snyder's going to get a ton of praise for this to kind of maybe revamp his career a little bit. And I think the DC fandom are going to back this no matter what. Even if I think it's awful, the DC fans are going to praise this thing no matter what. And that's why I'm going to say boom. But I'll go personal bust. But worldwide boom.
You're the one who complains about the splits.
I know, and I'm doing it. Matt, go ahead.
Bust. We don't need any of this. We don't need this.
Woo!
All right. So with that all being said, I just want to talk about the DC universe because I feel like they just backed the wrong horse when they put Zack Snyder in charge of it, and I think it's just because he's a director. Like Kevin Feige wasn't directing any of the films for the Marvel Universe. He was just kind of helping it along onto a path. He kind of had the big plot points I think he had plotted out, and he let the directors do their thing and make their movies. And then he was like, well, hey, how about this happens just because then it'll lead into, just for his grander scheme of things. And then it just all worked out. And I think things started connecting that, in the Marvel Universe that just kind of happenstance connected because they were connected in with other ways. And I just... the way DC handled it with this, they needed somebody outside of the movie making part of it just to oversee a direction. And putting Zack Snyder's head of it as a director for like wanting him to do multiple of these movies, I just thought that was a bad move. But anyway.
And that's how comic companies work. Like it's not Mark Millar or whatever making all the decisions. It's you have people basically determining the general direction of the Marvel Universe, of DC. And then you have authors who they think are congruent with where they want to go with that little piece of it in charge of different series. That's why the MCU was successful in this. They ran it differently than film franchises. They ran it like comics. And DC, they've had some success, but they haven't had wide success. And I think it's exactly what you said. It's because of strategic planning, like just not working out on their part.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to bring it to, I guess, the future, because this is they dropped so much stuff. other than just this Snyder cut, which brings us back to the awful, awful past of what DC was. We got to see a lot of stuff of of the direction that DC is going. So what do you guys think of DC's future for their movies and these characters that we know and love? Corey, go ahead.
I don't know. The future's hard to see because it almost feels like at this point DC might just fully sink all of their chips into HBO Max once they get through Wonder Woman. Like, for all we know, Wonder Woman 3 could be like a HBO Max exclusive, or it's like there are so many DC properties that it's almost like they're scared to touch now. Like Green Lantern could have been in Justice League, but because of the stigma that the Ryan Reynolds film created, it feels like they almost don't want to touch him. Or Black Lightning could have been a member of the Justice League, but they decided to go the TV route instead. And with their own TV stuff, that's kind of starting to burn out as it is. Like Flash is pushing like season 7 or 8 now, I think. Mm-hmm. And Legends of Tomorrow is on like 5 or 6, and Arrow just wrapped up, and Supergirl's on 4 or 5. It just feels so, like, I know we were just saying strategy-wise, but it feels so unthought out right now that they're just kind of like throwing stuff to the wall, and whatever sticks, that's what they're going to back without any, like we said, Kevin Feige sat down and he was like, all right, this leads to this, and that leads to this, and that leads to these 3 things, and those 3 break off into this. Whereas DC's kind of like, oh, people like Wonder Woman now, let's greenlight 6 of those. Oh, they like Suicide Squad, let's make 4 more of those. Everyone sign a contract for 6 more films, and we'll figure it out as we go. And that worries me.
Matt,
and that's my thoughts on the future.
But on the other hand, that might work better for DC than what they had been doing, which was trying to play catch up. We've looked at some interesting things. They have some projects coming out that I think don't look particularly good, and they have some projects coming out that I think are interesting. DC might be best served with where they're at now to try a whole bunch of different things and see what works. Just because being second banana really didn't work for them. I mean, their tentpole movie, Justice League, it made peanuts, even compared to their more successful movies like Wonder Woman. So, maybe it looks like DC doesn't want to put all their eggs in one basket anymore. They don't want to be all in on the DCEU, and I think that that's probably correct of them. They're not at the point where they necessarily have strategic vision, but they have to establish what's going to work for them first. And there are some bright spots, I think, on DC's slate that could lead to better things.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if it was this episode or the last one, Corey, that you compared us to different cups of coffee. But in that way, because we've just been recording so long,
with the last.
my vision of the future for DC is kind of a mix between you guys.
Goldilocks.
So
Goldilocks.
In the last episode, I was talking about how
over here.
I feel like the Flash movie and what they're doing right now, the Flash movie and what they said about it is really going to be their point of breaking whether or not they're going to go the route of being all in on the DC universe or not, like you're saying, Matt. Because when they the whole point where if Flash does this Flashpoint thing, goes back in time and sets everything to be a part of the DCU in every different way, just different timelines, it's a way to retcon things without retconning them, because, this is in the universe, but it's just because Flash went back in time, then Michael Keaton's Batman is part of the DCU. Like, everything is. And it gives them like I was talking about in the last episode, the freedom to see what sticks at the wall, like you're saying, Corey, where they're just going to try whatever, which I think could be a good thing, because we might get to see more of different things. But I feel like the movie studio version, or the movie studio is getting a hold of everything and being like, well, this is what they like, so let's do a bunch of these. I think maybe they are taking their time a little bit more with these properties and seeing how they come out. Now with after the awful Justice League and Batman v Superman, I think we have a shot of just having some okay DC superhero movies. So that's my my uplifting take on the future of DC.
Something that was announced during Fandom that didn't have a trailer or even like image, but was brought up, is that a Static Shock live action movie is in development right now.
What? That's awesome.
And I could see that going very awesome or also incredibly terrible.
Well, I'm going to audition for it.
There you go.
I'm going to be Static Shock, the first Filipino superhero ever.
Is that what he was?
He had a geeky white friend. I can do that.
Yeah, there you go.
Now he's going to have a geeky Filipino friend. So,
what was his geeky white friend who was voiced by Billy West?
Was his name Virgil?
Yeah, Virgil.
Yes.
Was his name
and then
Virgil?
They gave him.
I think so.
They gave him kind of superpowers in like season 2. He was like the tech guy.
So that should wrap us up on most of this of the DC universe. We have a lot of crazy views here. Tell us what you think in the comments, and I think it's time. Corey, take us home.
All right, guys. As always, thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing if you did. We're always so thankful for every passenger we get on our hype train. So, whether it's one of our family members, one of our friends, one of our spouses, one of our possible girlfriends, in Fernandez's case, we appreciate every last one of you. We hope you're taking care of yourselves during this 98 Degrees reunion tour. As much as it seems like the world wants to get back to normal, please remember to take precautions when you go outside. Always support your local post office and post members. And signing off for the Hype Train, I'm Corey.
I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
And we will catch you guys all on the next ride. Choo-choo!
Truly it was a limited edition DC Fandome Hypetrain Round Trip. Part 2.